And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week, another edition of the WTL World Team League 2023 Winter Codes Round 5, Day 1 for now. Day 1. I'm your host, VIP, and with me I'm joined by my lovely plushies in the chat, my lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome everyone to something that's a little bit different. So, to be, of course, full front, what? To be transparent with what is going on, World Team League typically occurs over the weekend. It occurs over the weekend, and the events of this Team League match of Team Liquid versus PSISTORM Gaming did occur on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. And unfortunately, we usually cast it live. Sorry, not Saturday. Friday, that's it. on Friday. Usually we cast these events live, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we were busy casting something else. On Friday, we were the B stream. We were the official B stream of ESL Masters Winter. We were on ESL_AC2B, and we were casting live then and there, which is why we missed out on day 1. Likewise, we were also casting the B stream on Sunday, which is day 3. So typically WTL is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and both Friday and Sunday we were busy casting ESL Masters, which means we weren't able to cover World Team League. And I refused to go a week without without casting WTL. I refused. So we're catching up. Thankfully, earlier today we were covering ESL Open Cup Americas, and we actually don't have any live broadcasts scheduled for later on tonight. So we have, an opening in our schedule. We're like, you know what? This is a better opportunity than any to go over some of what we missed out on over the weekend. Now, we already did a bit of a catch-up stream. It was on Saturday. On Saturday, we live casted day 2, and then we covered the first series of day 1 as well. I think we covered Shopify, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. But yes, on Saturday we did cast a day 1 match, which was we did cover a day 1 match, which was Shopify versus Starlight Twinkle, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry, Shopify versus the Crank Freaks. That's it. We covered that series on Saturday, and now we're here to catch up once again. So we're going to be finishing up day 1, which is going to be Team Liquid versus PSISTORM Gaming, and then after this we're going to have a small break, and then we're going to be getting into day number 3, which is the Platinum Heroes versus the Starving Camels, and On-Site Gaming versus Dragon Kaizi Gaming as well. Oh my god. We're going to end the night with a very high quality matchup. On-Site versus Dragon Kaizi is going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. That is, of course, Maru, Solar, and Ryung up against Oliveira, Hero, and Dark. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. But we'll get there. We'll ease our way up towards that banger of a match with some other amazing matches as well. Now, the other thing is that on Friday there wasn't a clean feed, so I have the replays. I have access to the replays. We're going to be going over them one after the other with Team Liquid versus PSISTORM Gaming. Production is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit lower quality because I don't have, the lovely overlays and like the ELOs and all that stuff, because I don't have a clean feed. But yeah, we'll make do. I also don't have Kuro handling the production, so I don't have any fancy spreadsheets. So bam! This is going to be our best of 7 tonight between Team Liquid and PSISTORM Gaming. We start things off with Mana versus Spirit. The first map is predetermined. The second map is loser's pick. So we have Mana versus Spirit, into Clem versus Gerald, into SKillous versus MaxPax, and then the ace match is on Radisson Station if we get there towards the end. So we have a juicy best of 7 before us. And we're going to be kicking things off with Spirit versus Mana. Let's go. A lot of Terran, a lot of Protoss. We're saving the Zerg for later on in the night. I promise you we'll have plenty of Zerg action. But here we go. We're diving into game number 1. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Polish Terran player, the red Terran representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the other Polish player, the Polish Protoss player. He is blue, representing Team Liquid. It is Mana. Oh my god. Here we go. I was actually trying to set up. Yeah, that doesn't work. I was trying to set up a best of 2, but I guess I'll have a best of 7 in the bottom left. Hopefully, it's not too confusing. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. As we get into our PVT, and oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one here, especially because for a long time now, I would say that Spirit has cemented himself as the best player in Poland. I do think that he did overtake a laser, especially after what happened in the last offline event that we casted. Spirit versus a laser, we casted like two best of 5s. It was a lot of ZVT, a lot of Spirit versus a laser, and Spirit really did just dominate, not just over a laser, but over the other players in Poland as well, like your Geralds, your Christianos, your Manas. But, of course, it's been a while. It's been a couple of months since that event, since that offline finals. It was the House SC2 Circuit Finals, for those wondering, and I believe there's going to be another House event in a couple of months. But you know, since then, it's been a couple of months. Our players have been improving, and Mana likewise has been getting ready for ESL Masters as well. Does force this CC off center, so not a bad start here, being a little bit annoying. At least Mana is. And I want to believe that, of course, players like Mana, players like Gerald, players like a Laser, they can kind of slip Spirit up, and they can, of course, vie for that crown, the crown of the best in Poland. And in a best of 2 especially, you know, anything can happen. Preparation is a very important part of WTL. Our players, they have a couple of days here to prepare for this specific matchup, and I'm sure Mana did put a lot of thought into this as well. Again, Mana, he's a very historic player. He's been around for a very long time, much longer than Spirit or Soul before him. And yeah, I mean, Mana at the time was even one of the best, I would have said, yeah, one of the best Protosses outside of Korea, of course. Outside of Korea. Bringing it all the way back to 2015. I don't want to keep bringing up 2015 when I talk about Mana, but it was just a really cool moment. I loved it. I loved it so much. Back in WCS Europe, Premier League Europe even. For now, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener though. Twilight Council here from Mana. We have our tech of choice. And it is going to be Blink. Meanwhile, back at home, Spirit did go for a Rax Expand. Should be recentering the CC at some point. Does have the Orbital on the way. And it's going to be a 1-1-1 follow-up as well. So nothing too fancy here out of Spirit. Everything's looking as it should. And likewise, Mana should be going for, I imagine, a 2-gate opener into a third base, especially on a map like Oceanborn. There's no, I do feel like you want to take advantage of this map. You can take a faster third base. You can defend it quite well as well, as your 3-base setup is quite powerful here on Oceanborn. And we'll see if that's going to be the case. For now, we do have 2 gateways here from Mana. Blink, of course, on the way. And Spirit is still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. As Reaper dives in. Oh, does avoid that adept. Gets a full scout. Does get confirmation on the Twilight Council. Will go down, but does at least spot the tech. So now Spirit knows he doesn't have to be concerned about keeping units in his main base and preparing for any kind of Oracle or even Phoenix harass. And oh, interesting. Spirit, he's spicing things up. It is a 1-1-1 opener, but we're going for an add-on swap and going for a Banshee first. Okay, Cloak Banshees at that. Not something you see too often in this matchup. This is a build that has been a little bit more popular amongst the Korean Protoss, the Korean Terrans, not Protoss. Specifically Maru and Björn, they have been playing around a lot with just going for a singular Banshee. You don't even commit, you know, a singular Banshee. Sometimes they get Cloak, sometimes they don't. And it can do a surprising amount of damage here in TVP. Just because it can be so unexpected, and yeah, it doesn't take too many hits to kill a probe. Meanwhile, Mana does stay on the 2 gateways. He is going to be prioritizing a War Prism to be active across the map, but he should be expanding. We should be seeing a third base momentarily. Never mind, we're going to be throwing down some tech first. We go straight for the Temple Archives. Okay, you have my attention. I am intrigued. The Hellion gets shut down. We should be taking our third base here from Mana. Again, he just did delay his third in favor of tech first to start working towards Storm. Do appreciate it. It is a lot more commonplace to see Colossus as a splash damage of choice, and to instead see Storm, I like it. I love the variety that we're going to be getting here. This drop is going to be moving out at the same time. We do have that Banshee slipping into the main base. It is already cloaked, and we're going to be able to get a couple of workers. We recall back home. There is detection. We do have the Stalkers, and we shut down the Banshee for now. We do force it here into the dead space. 2 probes went down, but we forced a recall. Mana, he was in the middle of attacking. He was in the middle of pushing towards the main base, of hopefully getting a couple of SCVs, maybe getting a couple of Marines. The Banshee comes back in. We go up to 4 probe kills. And yeah, we have to dedicate some supply to defending here, as once again, Mana moves out of position. Another probe goes down. May not seem like a lot, but this early on, killing 5 probes, that's pretty impactful. The other interesting thing I mentioned before, okay, we do have a second Banshee coming in towards that natural. An observer comes out just in time. We have a shield battery as well, and this second Banshee doesn't get any damage. Not yet. Meanwhile, there is that Storm on the way. Not just Storm, but also Charge alongside it. So Charge or Archon going to be the composition of choice for Mana. Meanwhile, back at home, Spirit has been chilling, enjoying himself. He's going up towards 5 Raxes already, but alongside a 3rd TC. So he's not going for a 2-base all-in. A pretty fast start, actually. Ooh, as the Observer flies too close to the turret, within range, goes down. And Spirit even, oh my god, very paranoid. Threw down 2 bunkers as well. He gets a salvage off, so he's going to be fine. Meanwhile, here comes a Storm Jump. Oh my god! Up! The Storm Jump has arrived. Big storms here in the middle line. 7 SCVs go down. So many of them battered and bruised. I did notice the Prism moving out earlier, but yeah, I guess that's why we rushed into that tech for the Storm Jump initially. That was great and all, but this also means that we don't have storms available to defend. Uh-oh. There we go. Spirit is pushing out. No storms, no splash damage. We do have 1 High Templar here at the natural base. I believe we're gonna have 1 storm available here to defend. The army does still on forward. Up. We have that 1 storm. We don't want to waste it. Oh, that pretty juicy storm on a lot of those Marines. But the tanks are within range. At the same time, Banshee comes in from behind. They can one-shot workers, and they will. Oh, they do get 1 probe. Only 1, the shield battery, keeping the rest alive. Gateways are falling. Mana, he's just waiting, biding some time here for some more storms, as he has 2 High Templar in that Prism, and Spirit will back off. And Mana, he gets away with it. He loses a couple of units. He loses a gateway. Sure, that has to be replaced. But Mana now working on a 4th base, and he keeps his High Templar alive. Oh, that was a bit of a stressful moment for Mana, but he makes it through. Meanwhile, Spirit, he's just taking a 3rd base. Again, he threw down his 3rd far earlier. Much earlier than normal. He's going to be able to take advantage of that. A little bit supplyable for a moment, but he does break free. He's working towards Vikings. Upon seeing the storms, he should be aware that he doesn't quite need to worry about Colossi yet, but that is on the horizon, as we do have a 2nd Robo and a Bay on the way for double Robo Colossus production, or even Disruptors, or even both. Mana is going to be pushing. He still has those 2 High Templar in the Prism. There are Vikings to zone that Prism away. Here we go. Mana rotating around towards that 3rd base. There are 2 tanks in position. A minefield as well. He may opt to go for the mineral line again, but the Vikings, they do just barely miss that Prism. Okay. Meanwhile, back at home, it looks like the Banshees finally went down. They were finally cleaned up, but they more than pay for themselves. Looking at these lost tab here, they got 6 workers. Decent trades from those Banshees. Meanwhile, the Marine does confirm the 4th base location. Spirit is aware. And how do we approach this is the question, because Spirit is for now stuck at home. Army just finished up 2nd eBay for 2-2 to start up momentarily. Spirit has a decent army supply here, but I guess he's just waiting for more ghosts. As he waits, though, there are those Colossi. We do have Mana diversifying his splash damage. We have Storm, we have Colossi, 2 Colossi now. We're about to have 4 with that 2nd wave. A bit supply blocked here, but hopefully it doesn't slow us down too much. As Spirit is pushing, has been spotted by the Observer and the Zealot as well. Mana getting in position. No shield battery at the 4th. Which is a little bit concerning. Yeah, now we throw it down a little bit late. But it is on the way. Could even do with another shield battery. I'm loving the flanking storms. But the ghosts are looking for them. The Vikings as well. Good EMP on the 1st High Templar. The mine jump. Oh, we do have storms on some of the army. As a Colossi push on forward, and we have plenty of storms available behind this as well. Spirit, he's forced to back off. The tanks are going down. The Vikings are going ham, though. They take down one of the Colossus, but they will not get the other. They shouldn't get the oh god. Oh god, no! No, the Colossus! Oh my god, barely does survive. Spirit, he loses so much of his army, and now we're committing to a counterattack. Now, Spirit's at the same time going for a triple drop. There are some High Templar, but they do not have enough energy for Storm. And Mana, he can commit. There's nothing here. Nothing at the third, at least. There is an army at the natural. Forcing an overcharge. There we go, pushing in. We still have plenty of storms available. Oh my god. Good EMP, so we still have some more storms. Connecting more on Zealots there, but we do zone the army away. At the same time, Mana does get into the mineral line. The Zealots are going ham. We have run out of storms. We've run out of Colossi. Across the map, damage is being done. But these Immortals, they're breaking through the front lines. And Mana, he's getting on top of Spirits. He's breaking through. He is breaking through. The Ghost Academy is going to be going down. The third base is going to burn as well. GG gets called, and Mana takes game number 1. Papi. GG, well played, mate. Coming into this, I was hyping Spirit up. I'm like, yo, he's the best in Poland, okay? And he's arguably top 2 Terran in Europe as well. He's amazing. He's beautiful at everything he does. Mana comes in with a Storm Drop opener out of left field. Gets away with it as well. Remember, there was that moment I was concerned for Mana. After the Storm Drop, I'm like, that means we don't have Storms back at home. That's a little bit worrisome. Spirit knew that as well. He went for a big counterattack. But there was one additional High Templar back at home. We had Storms available as well. We were able to defend, and yeah, really well done there. Really good setup from Mana. Really impressive game. And with that, Mana takes a lead. Team Liquid take a lead in this series. But now it is going to be Spirit's map of choice. It is going to be his map of choice. For those wondering, it is loser's pick. So game 1 was on Oceanborn. Game number 2 is going to be on Hecate, which makes a lot of sense. On a map like this, we have a lot more breathing room available as well. Oceanborn, the rush distance by ground is a little bit short, so if you take a rough fight like that, bam, you just counterattack immediately. Hecate, a little bit different. Again, the center of the map is just, there's just so many choke points and points of elevation as well, where you can catch your opponent off guard, where you can gain an advantage of your opponent as well. Curious to see how Spirit does approach game 2. But GG, shout out to Mana. I'm impressed, Papi. I'm impressed. GG, well played. Again, not playing completely standard. Like, was an economic opener, don't get me wrong. Like, it was macro oriented, right? It was 2 gates into tech, yes, but into a third base. Like, it's not like he was cheesing or anything, just a little bit unorthodox. You know, how often do you really see storm drops into a mineral line in StarCraft nowadays? Not as often as I would like. Regardless, here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the Polish Terran player representing PSISTORM Gaming, and I still stand by it on paper, you know, and even in big events, he is considered to be the best in Poland, one of the best Terrans in Europe. Representing PSISTORM Gaming down in this series, looking to fight back, it is Spirit. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Team Liquid. Leading the series 1-0, it is Mana. Here we go. This is a rerun live. Oh, I say live. The cast is live. These matches occurred on they occurred on Friday. I don't know if anyone was casting them in English. Maybe Rotterdam. I know that Wardy wasn't, because Wardy was casting ESL Masters alongside us. But I do think that Wardy already did like a catch-up stream. Like us, I think Wardy has been doing some catch-up streams to catch up on other events. So you may have already seen these matches. We have not. For those curious. And here we go. Getting into this. As we do have a Gate Cyber Expand here. Pretty standard opener out of Mana. Likewise, Spirit once again going for a Rax Expand as well. Very economic. Let's go. But yeah, there may have been some other casters that did some catch-up streams. I don't know if Steadfast does that sort of thing. or Beowulf or Rotterdam. Yeah. Will I cast DKZ versus Onside 2? Yes. So this is basically day one. These are events that occurred on Friday, and after this we're going to be covering events that occurred on Sunday. So we'll get there, Papi. We'll get there. Don't worry. You got to work your way up to it. You know, we got to earn it, Papi. We got to earn the Onside versus DKZ. For now, though, just getting into our openers. Do have once again a Twilight Council opener out of mana, should be for Blink. What occurs after that, though, I mean, who knows, right? We have seen mana already rush into Storm at one point, which was unorthodox. By any kind of standard play would be to go into Colossus instead, but we'll see as the Reaper dips in. But the Adept is in position, does deny the Scout. Likewise across now, we even have a Probe to help add a little bit of extra DPS, but we do not delay the CC. That was the goal here with this Adept, to delay that expansion. We can at least delay mining. You know, the Adept is going to be able to stand strong and stop any kind of SCVs from coming into the mineral line and taking advantage of this natural, so not too bad. Eventually this Adept will be dealt with. Eventually we should be shading out of here. The Adept will escape. Meanwhile, behind this Spirit going into a 1-1-1. We saw last game that it was a 1-1-1 into Cloak Banshees, which did do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But without a Tech Lab on the way, with a Widowmine instead, this is looking like a more standard Mind Drop opener out of Spirit. Meanwhile, across the map, Mana is going to be going for his additional gateway. Going to be 2-gate Blink. Never mind, we throw down a 3rd gateway. The Probe is still around. This is looking like 4-gate Blink out of Mana. Reaper's diving in. We're looking for a Scout, and we will get into the main base. A very important Scout here from Spirits. He hasn't seen too much yet, but he gets behind the mineral line. He does confirm the Twilight Council. He sees all 3 gateways, and he also sees the Probe chilling as well. Now, I'm curious. Do we commit and throw down a 4th gate? Oh my god. He's doing it again. So it's going to be 3-gate Blink. So because it's only 3 gateways, yes, we can have some map pressure. We can have some map presence. We can contain our opponents. We can try to get some damage done. But this isn't too committed. We should be taking a 3rd base behind this. And you can see Mana already getting in position to expand and take that 3rd. But once again, the 3rd is delayed in favor of a Templar Archives. We saw that this was, eventually, this led into a Storm drop. But this should lead into Storm nonetheless. Here we go. We do have a Mind Drop coming in towards the natural base. Is spotted by this pylon. Mana fully aware of what's going on. Yep, the Stalkers are repositioning. Stalkers as well as those Adepts. And yeah, Spirit is going to be holding off on this drop because he knows he got scouted. We can just keep the drop here in the dead space and wait for an opportune moment where we can come in when Mana is otherwise preoccupied. As behind this Spirit, he is just working towards the rest of his Raxes. Going to be a 3-1-1 setup. Pretty standard setup here on 2 bases. Once again, throwing down 2 bunkers, so being very safe here, even with a turret, in case it was a Dark Shrine. So very safe play out of Spirit once again. Meanwhile, Mana is pushing out with these 4 Stalkers. If you remember, he did the same thing in game 1, but he was forced to recall because of the Banshees. There is that 3rd. Again, the 3rd base has been delayed, not just in favor of Storm, but also Charge. We made sure we started these upgrades first before throwing down the 3rd base. So a very interesting choice here, as Mana is making his way into the main. Stalker's going to try and get some hits in, but we have a tank in range. And one Stalker does... Oh god! One Stalker does go down at the same time the Mind Drop comes in. 4 probes go down in the natural. We do have a Mind Drop into the main, and up! And 1 additional probe goes down. Decent reactions, but 5 probes for 1 Widowmine. Pretty well worth it here for Spirits. A good trade. Mana did take down a medevac in the main base. I was about to bring that up before probes started falling, and at least he was able to get some value here with his drop. But Mana has to be very wary of that Widowmine to come back into the main. Meanwhile, Storm is now done. Do we attempt to go for another drop? Are we that greedy? We are. I don't know about this. Like, I'm a little bit concerned if we move out across the map, I should say. Speaking of drops, Spirit moving out with a drop here on the right-hand side. Medevac comes back in, but Mana is in position, does deter that Widowmine. Third base is getting up and running. And yet, overall, a pretty similar setup to game 1, where Mana, he's just getting into charge dots, charge Archon, +1, Storm. Spirit once again went for a faster third CC, is already going to be main running over towards said third. And he's going to be landing it on location a lot faster this time as well. Now, a big difference when it comes to these two games as the Wandrel comes back in, and we should see a reaction. We don't. Oh! Oh, no reaction. 6 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. This is becoming a bit much. Drop comes into the main. Marine's going ham here on that pylon. We do have storms available for Mana once again, but there's not too much saturation here in the mineral line. He goes for it. Up. It does go for the storm on the Marauders. That's a lot of Marauders available here for Spirit. A decent second storm is going to connect. But more importantly, we take down all the SCVs here at the third base. 9 SCVs did go down. Good target firing out of Spirit. Takes down the High Templar. But I feel like Mana needs to get out of here before things get a little bit too intense. Flanking storms are going to be coming in as well. Mana, he's just going to keep on pushing. Force a storm on the tank, but he does storm on the main army as well. Does Mana have enough? He's running out of units. He's running out of steam. Loses an Immortal, and it feels like Mana has overextended. No, the Prism! The Prism is not going to go down. Oh my god. Barely does survive. That last storm was clutch. And Mana will once again lay siege upon this third base. So we have reinforcements. We can't keep pushing, Papi. Gonna get a couple more SCVs. Oh my god, the boys are being pulled into tank range. It's expecting a little bit more friendly fire, but it's okay. SCVs are saved. Only 4 go down. Behind this, Mana is taking a 4th base, and even though I do think Mana has been a little bit wasteful, at least he accomplishes what he set out to do, which is deny the third. Oh my god. The storms, Papi. It's all been about the storms here from Mana. He dives on the army as well. Bold move. I feel like once again this was a little bit misjudged from Mana. Losing a lot of stalkers. He gets 1 tank. Mana, you need calm down, Papi. As he does back off, but that was a costly fight. That was a costly couple of moments. Looking at the units lost tab here, we lost an Archon, 4 High Templar, an Immortal, a lot of Stalkers as well. And sure, we did some economic damage, but honestly, after all said and done, Spirit still has the economic lead. We're even in workers, which means Spirit is ahead. Bearing in mind mules are a thing. If Mana had preserved his High Templar, I would think differently. But because Mana has been losing High Templar after High Templar, the Immortal as well, these have been some rough trades. But here we go, Mana pushing in again. He does have 4 High Templar on the right-hand side in that Prism. He's going to try and sandwich this army. There's only 1 tank. Oh my god, decent storms here on the army as well. The mine shots go off. No storms are left. Yeah, the Marine army can just stim on forward. We do have Zelts coming in though. And another warp in from behind. With this Gateway army, Mana may just barely have enough. There are so many medevacs here for Spirits. Tank on the high ground putting in a lot of work. 19, 20 SCVs go down as Zelts make their way to the natural. And yeah, Mana did kill a lot of workers. This is true. But he threw everything away. More Zealots going to be rallying into the third base. This is... Oh my... a bit of a slugfest here from Mana. Just throwing everything across the map. And it's working. It is working. Kills 30 SCVs, knocking Spirit down to 38. But Spirit has a standing army. And that's more than I can say for Mana. Here comes the counterattack. Oh boy. Alright, Mana, what do we got? We have... 4 High Templar. We barely are going to have a couple of storms available. Colossus are coming out as well. It's going to be a tight hold. So far, so good. EMP only does connect with one of the High Templar. Now the Storm does barely graze the army as well. Good EMPs, but we have the overcharge. And with the overcharge, can Mana barely hold on that tank, putting in a lot of work in the back line. And we barely do get on top of the tank. Oh, we don't! We don't get it! Another Storm comes in! But the Colossus is exposed. And the Colossus goes down, and it looks like Spirit does break through. Again, Mana was crazy earlier. He was just investing so much into breaking the third base, and he was getting a lot of economic damage, but again, he was throwing away high-tech units. High Templar, Archons, Immortals. A little bit too much, a little bit too wasteful out of Mana. And that is going to kill him in the end. As Spirit has broken the third. Looking to push into the natural as well. No splash damage, no Colossi, no Disruptors. Nothing else left as Spirit is pushing into the natural once again. Depowering everything, a bit of an Artosis pylon there. Mana gonna try and come in from behind, he gets a couple of tanks. But Spirit, he has too much, he has done it, he's broken into the natural as well. There are some Zelts being set up from behind. Colossus does pop out as well. But yeah, we got doesn't really stand for much longer. Big EMPs on the Colossi. And we can clean up everything else. GG gets called, and Spirits will fight back, putting a point on the board. GG. GG, well played. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Oh my god. And yeah, with that, we do end up in a tied up 1-1 score. Mana looked very impressive in the first game. Here in the second game, I do think Mana had certain advantages. I said it a couple of times. I don't want to harp on it too much, but I do think that Mana was just a little bit careless or a little bit wasteful with how he was controlling his army. He was controlling his army like he was like a very desperate man. Like he just desperately, it felt like he desperately wanted to kill Spirit. And I understand it, right? Like Spirit is the favorite player, but I feel like if Mana just took a moment, like just take a breath, you know, if Mana just took a moment to just calm down a little bit, compose himself, and be a little bit more attentive even with some of his high-tech units, I do think he would have had a lot more success here and could have even won. It's hard to say, but yeah, GG, well played nonetheless. Great games, entertaining matches, and with that, we are getting into a tied-up series. And we have another set of players before us. Now, for those that are curious, and maybe there are people that are tuning in that are unfamiliar with the WTL format, as we switch our scenes over, it is a best of 7 overall, best of 7, but it is comprised with a bunch of best of 2s. So we just finished up our first best of 2 between Mana and Spirit. They went tied up 1-1, and now we have our next best of 2 and then another best of 2 afterwards. We have Clem versus Gerald, and then at the end, SKillous versus MaxPax. The first to 4 does win. And the first starting map is predetermined. So up first here for Clem and Gerald, it is on Solaris. It is going to be on Solaris. Oh boy. Another TVP. The TVPs, they continue, papi. They continue. And Spirits may be one of the best Terrans in Europe, but now we have for Team Liquid the best Terran in Europa. But here we go. Before we get there, we have our challenger spawning in the top right hand corner of Solaris. We have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Otherwise known as Clem. Here we go, and again, Clem coming in as the ace player for Team Liquid. I'm sure he's happy to see that he did not end up being fielded against MaxPax. For those wondering, the way that it works is the maps are shown ahead of time, and then the teams, they select which players they want to field on those specific maps. Then the lineups and the rosters are sent to the admins, and then they announce the overall matches. So they didn't know who they were playing against ahead of time. until the lineups were revealed. And yeah, Clem and MaxPax, they did avoid each other. I'm sure, thankfully, we already get a lot of Clem versus MaxPax, or in the Open Cups, in ESL Open Cup Europe and Americas, and in plenty of other online events. We'll see how they perform in their respective matches. As again, this is going to be more of an uphill battle for Gerald. Of course, he has been on the rise. Gerald has been looking very impressive in recent months. We've been casting a lot of him in these online tournaments, even taking down some big names at times. But we'll see if he can keep up with someone like Clem. So I think it was last week we casted Gerald versus Spirit. I say last week, less than a week ago, a couple of days ago, we casted Clem versus Spirit. Sorry, Clem. Gerald versus Spirit in the House Weekly Open Cup, and Gerald did force a series out of it. He did take maps, did take games off of Spirit. And that's, in my mind, is already a bit of an upset. You know, the fact that Gerald can go toe-to-toe with Spirit is a very impressive thing. And we'll see if he can take that even further. We'll see if he can go toe-to-toe with Clem. For now, Rax expand. But a very, really safe opener. It was a double gas opener, so it racks into factory into a delayed expansion on the high ground, not on the low ground. So really interesting stuff here out of Clem. Geralt is in the dark. Geralt's not fully aware of the opener of his opponent. Of course, with a faster factory, we can get into Hellions or additional Widow Mines. So Clem is getting into his 1-1-1, setting up for a mine drop. So a pretty standard opener here out of Clem. Very similar as to what Spirit did in Game 2. Meanwhile, we have our opener of choice, and we're going for a Robo opener? Okay. A little bit old school. A little bit old school out of Geralt. It is not a Stargate, it is not a Twilight Council, it's a Robo, so this can lead into much earlier Colossi, into a faster Robotics Bay, into Colossus. This can also lead into 3-gate aggression with a fast War Prism. I'm really curious. There are ups and downsides. This is considered to be a very safe opener just because you gain access to faster Immortals and faster Colossus. The downside is that you don't really have too much map presence. That is what Blink Stalkers and Phoenixes do grant you as a Protoss player in PvT. Phoenixes and Blink Stalkers, they do a great job at shutting down drops and even just asserting themselves on the map, containing the Terran player on 2 bases. They do a great job at that. So yeah, this is just a really tech-heavy style out of Geralt. He's rushing right into Robotics Bay, into fast Colossus. But he's going to be stuck at home. And he's going to have a hard time keeping up with these drops. Geralt takes the 3rd base. We have a drop coming into the main. And what do we have to defend? We have 3 units. We have 3 Adepts. Oh boy. And a couple of Stalkers as well are being warped in reactively. Pylon is under threat, and we can't really do much about it. The Pylon is going to go down. Cyclone as well in position, doesn't quite get the Observer, gets a probe. And yeah, we just drop back into the main base, and you can see how difficult it is to keep up with this in the early game. Without Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers, it's quite a challenge. Clem actually flexing his control here, juggling his Marines. Oh my god. Avoiding some of those shots. Pulling back, and he's trading favorably against the Adepts. Another Adept goes down. Oh my god, every Adept goes down. There's only one Stalker left. Another Stalker being warped in. We don't mind getting in position, and oh, that's a rough loss. A Stalker, both Stalkers go. Is this it? There's nothing left. Geralt's running out of units, down to 1 Stalker. We have a scan. Observer goes down as well. It's only 2 Marines, Papi. And Clem is getting an insane amount of damage done, and this is just a really good way to abuse the opener of Geralt. Boys are being pulled, they have to be. And Geralt will clean this up eventually. At the same time, we did have the Cyclone diving into the natural. 5 more probes go down. And the Widowmine is coming back in! No! It's waddling back in! No reaction! Ah! Oof. 8 probes in total, and we still have 1 Marine left alive. Raven coming in as well. Clem just having his way with Geralt, and sure, this opener from Geralt means that he gets a Colossus, but the Colossus can't do anything in this position. It can't keep up, and Clem behind this, he has a pretty nice economic lead. It's getting into tanks, marauders. I'm afraid to look at the unit slots tab, but Yeah, that one drop killed 4 adepts, 3 stalkers, 2 observers as well, my god, and 11 probes. A very efficient trade out of Clem. And again, just a really good way to abuse this opener out of Gerald. It was, of course, I don't want to take away from the fact that that Clem was also microing out of his mind. he was, mate, the control was crazy, but also the fact that the tools that Gerald had was less than ideal in the situation as well. Here we go, the tanks do siege up, and this third base is looking very exposed. We do have those 2 Colossi, but nothing to support them because we bled out so many units earlier. Colossi are good, but on their own, you can see how fragile they are. Oh. Hello? Are we good? Hold on, I think we have some technical issues. Wait, what just happened? Oh. No shot. I was really concerned that I had lagged out. I was like, is my internet okay? Is my OBS still connected? It's still connected. We're being censored, papi. So, to reiterate, these events, this series took place on Friday, and we weren't able to cast it live. We gained access to replays, and it looks like the observer lagged out. And we don't know how this. I mean, we can guess how the story ends, but we don't. That's where the replay ends, papi. We don't have the rest. We don't know. GG. That's the end of the replay. Oh, so I guess the WTL observer did lag out, unfortunately. Not us, but someone did lag out, and yeah, we censor the end. I mean, look, the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. I think we can all imagine how it ends. And you know what? Maybe the WTL observer is a Protoss player, and he doesn't want to see it. Maybe he saw the opener of this game. He was disgusted. He was like, I can't watch my Protoss brethren go down like this, and I can understand. I can. GG, man. GG, well played. And I'm just gonna be double checking here. But yes, Gerald did take the game. He did take that first game. Sorry, Gerald, what? Sorry, Clem did take the game. Clem did take the first game against Gerald, and Team Liquid will be enjoying a 2-1 lead. GG. GG. My heart goes out to Gerald a little bit, and that was a brutal opener. That was a very brutal start to the game, and we didn't really get to sink our teeth into the mid game either. Yeah, and this is also why, to bring it back to the builds and to the robo opener until Fast Colossus, this is also why this is really unorthodox. We do not see a lot of Protoss players opening up robo first, just because it is unsafe, or I say unsafe, just because you do lose a lot of flexibility and maneuverability with your army, and nowadays, Terran players are very mobile themselves, you know, with drop play, with harass, whether it's with mine drops or even initial tank drops and cyclone drops. And yeah, Terran players are usually very in your face, and we can see what a player like Clem can do if left to his own devices. Crazy, crazy. GG, well played. So Clem does take a lead in this series, and we have our second map, and this makes plenty of sense. So another important thing about WTL, it is loser's pick, and there are no vetoes. No vetoes available, so it makes plenty of sense. Gerald, he's going to be forcing out another map. He's going to be forcing out Radisson Station. Fun fact, this is a map that we did not get to cast at all in ESL Open Cup, in ESL Masters. Actually, I could be wrong there. You can correct me in the chat if maybe you were tuning into the mainstream. But I don't think this map has been played at all in ESL Masters Winter. I remember the statistic guys, the admins for ESL Masters Winter, they made a tweet the other day because they're collecting like map scores, and they're collecting stats on the maps just for like infographics and stuff like that, and they have like no information on this map because no one plays on it. Smooch, puppy, smooch. But that's what's great about WTL. We get to see Radisson Station a lot more. A lot more as a result. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner. We have our Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player representing Team Liquid, leading the series 2-1, or allowing his team to have a lead. It is Clem. We'll leave it to our imagination. It's okay. No. Your imagination's too dirty. It's not like this. Yeah, we can all picture what occurred in the following moments of that game. It's true. Gerald, he dropped 70 DTs in Clem's base and he conceded. True, might be true. I was astonished when he said Gerald. Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. Clem took it. Rated R replay. Exactly. Censored, might be censored. The Colossi got super batteries, killed all the Marine Zealots, and they won the game. Only Clem and Geralt know what really happened in that game. Only they know. They gotta keep it between themselves. As we do have a pretty interesting opener. It's going to be a single gas opener out of Clem. Gonna be a Rax into Factory here. Which is why I'm interested in how we do piece this together. SCV does move out across the map, and what do we have planned? Bappy, what are we doing? I should talk about the map itself. Oh my, we're going for a Forge expand? Mate, crazy. Let's go. Punish him, Papi. Yeah, we're going for a 1-1-1. We're going for a proxy starport. Okay, so there's a lot going on. One, for those who may not be aware, the reason why we don't get to see this map too often, why it's so vetoed, is because it has certain features. A lot of crazy features. The big one, there is no Reaper Cliff. There is no Reaper Cliff to go into the natural or to go into the main base outside of this one ramp. It's the only way in. So it's very difficult to scout ahead of time. We do have a pylon just to be a little bit annoying. But so it's really difficult to scout as a Terran player, especially early on. Likewise, you get a pocket base as well. It's very easy to get your 2 and even 3 base setup here. And oh my god, we're going double star. He's crazy. He went for a Forge expand just to be greedy, just to cut corners, and he's going double Stargate. Geralt, he's trying to get away with murder right now. And you can do that, like if you ever get to cast or ever get to watch games on Radisson Station, this is the greed that you can do. We've seen it whether it's Zerg, Terran, or Protoss, so you can get away with such greedy builds here on Radisson Station. And we're gonna try and go straight to double Stargate Phoenix. Meanwhile, Clem wants to punish this. Clem doesn't know what's going on, he doesn't know what's happening, but he is going for a drop nonetheless, and he's looking to try to punish his opponent for cutting too many corners. We don't even have Warp Gate. We skipped Warp Gate to go double Stargate instead. That's how greedy we are. Phoenix does catch the drop, but the Hellions are going in nonetheless. We can't warp in defensively because there's no Warp Gate. The Hellions, they just ignore the Adept. They just go straight for the mineral line. They don't even care. One of the Hellions is gonna get picked up, but 3 Hellions do one-shot workers. How much more damage can we get done? So far, only 3 probes. The Phoenixes, they clean this up. The Phoenixes will clean this up, and Clem, he at least gets a full scout. He's now fully aware of what's going on. He's aware of how greedy Geralt is being. Not like this. So Hellion will eventually be hunted down. Meanwhile, back at home, Clem are going to be going for a 2-rack setup. It should be a 3-1-1 setup here on 2 bases. Working towards a 3rd, and the starport is floating back here. Now, from here, Geralt, once he gets enough Phoenixes for map control, we could even go for a fleet beacon and go straight into Sky Toss. That is a thing that we have seen here in PvT on this map. We have seen some Sky Toss rushes, and Geralt could try to go for that as well. As for now, he does dive on in. He gets 1 Marine. But there's still plenty available in the main base. Good positioning here out of Clem. Able to avoid disaster. Avert disaster even. Oh. And okay, we're good. He was about to throw down a second and a third starport, but we're calming down a little bit here. We're just going to be landing our own starport instead. Yeah, there it is. There's a fleet beacon. Yep, we're just rushing straight into SkyToss. Meanwhile, Phoenix, as they dive into the main base, they barely do get a Cyclone, but they trade a Phoenix for one. Not the best trades out of Gerald, but he's at least containing his opponent. Clem not going for that third base. Meanwhile, there it is. +1 air attack is on the way. Fleet beacon, we can throw down a third Stargate. There it is. Third Stargate is also thrown down. And we're rushing into SkyToss. Meanwhile, Gerald, he's getting his third base up and running, fully operational as well. So we'll see if, again, Gerald can get away with this, because something that's very interesting, despite us being on Razet Station, Clem hasn't taken a fast third. He is building up a pretty decent and sizable army. A lot of Marine Stim is on the way, Widowmine's on the way as well. Now, because his third CC is so delayed, I do imagine that Clem does intend to move out soon. If he does intend to push, Mine goes off, another Phoenix goes down. Gerald just sharking around, just making sure, getting eyes on any would-be third. Getting a couple of SCVs, there it is, carriers are on the way. And Clem is on a bit of a timer, because if Gerald is able to get up to 6 carriers, I feel like six carriers is typically the ideal, then we should be able to stabilize and, you know, survive any kind of push and get into a 4th base and get into the late game. One medevac does go down, we catch some reinforcements, but the drop is still coming. And do we have a ground army? We do not, by the way. Gerald, he saw the move out, he saw the drop, and he's not coming home. And we have nothing. We have to recall, but is that really going to be enough? Cannon goes down. We have a shield battery. We have an overcharge, but we have to evacuate. There is one carrier to defend. Up the mine. Intercepts is going to be going down, and I feel like Gerald was too greedy. I feel like he tried to get away with murder. Rushing into these carriers, a handful of Marines are going to be too much. Phoenixes are going down one after the other. The boys are being pulled. This is becoming too much. The mine, it goes up. And Gerald will deflect this push, but again, 10 workers went down to that. We have another army here on the right-hand side as well, breaking into the natural. The carriers are holding. To be fair, we are kind of holding. But this is a messy hold. Shaky, man, shaky. Behind this, Clem is getting a 3rd TC. Another army's moving out. Alright, we have 3 more carriers on the way. We're about to hit 6. We're almost there. We're almost at 6 carriers. And once we get there, I do think that Gerald can deal with this army. And then we can start thinking about a 4th base. These rocks are going down. So we can break free, we can expand. At the same time, we have a drop coming in towards the pocket base. Not too much here. Drop nonetheless. I'm trying to pull Geralt apart. Pushing towards that natural. Warp gate about to finish up. Zuger for a mine drop into the main. And we're getting a surprising amount done. 5 more probes go down. Clem not committing with his army. These Widow Mines, I believe they shouldn't. Maybe one of them can reset. Maybe. Gonna be close. Yeah, one of them will reset. Up! Up! No reaction! No! Another 4 probes goes down. Meanwhile, Clem is getting a 4th on location. He's getting fully saturated on 3 bases. He's still committed here to Marine production. We have Vikings on the way. Ghosts as well for EMPs. And Gerald should be working on some splash damage. Like, if we want to talk about SkyToss here, SkyToss is good, don't get me wrong. And we have hit critical mass of carriers. We have 8 carriers. But carriers by themselves are pretty bad. Ideally, we have, like, High Templar on the ground, right? For storms. or Colossi, or Disruptors, something to support. So far, they're handling this well. So far, this is fine. But once we talk about, like, you know, more well-refined army compositions, once the ghosts come into play, I do hope that Gerald does decide to diversify a little bit. Maybe decides to refine this and add to it. Because for now, it's just pure sky toss. For now, it's just everything in the air. Like, we just don't care. Okay, Twilight Council on the way. All right, another Stargate. Well, as Clem is once again abusing the immobility of Gerald's army, going for a Doom Drop into the pocket base. Oh my god, we're gonna try and pick up. That is not gonna work out. This Clem is gonna lose his entire drop. All 4 medevacs go down. Big pick off here for Gerald. Clem throwing so much away. And now Clem's in a bit of trouble. Okay, that was a lot of supply, and he traded for a shield battery, a couple of cannons. Alright, we up to 15 Vikings. We're making 6 Vikings at a time. That's a lot of Vikings, Papi. So a similar concept to PvZ late game, where you want to have some Archons to help support, to help deal with those Vikings if they do ever try to chase you. Storms. There it is. Templar Archives is on the way. So Gerald, he's thinking about Storm. He's thinking about Archons. It's on the mind. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. He's getting there. Meanwhile, Clem is just chilling here on 4 bases. And we're going Sky Toss against Sky Terran. It's happening. Let's go. +2 ship weapons. Another starport. Again, Clem, he already has his spellcasters, right? It's Mass Viking plus Ghost for EMPs. Clem has the better army. He scans ahead of time. He sees his target. Sees what he wants. Does catch a couple of Phoenixes for free. Void Razor on the way. Okay. I mean, we can morph in some Archons. I mean, against Ghosts, I guess Archons aren't amazing anymore. Right, EMPs, they just annihilate them. But yeah, I'm shocked that we haven't started Storm or anything like that. We're just still committed to just pure Sky Toss. Island's gonna be going down. Gerald respecting this army, just backing up. Waiting for reinforcements. Anion Pulse Crystals on the way. I think that was supposed to be Flux Veins. Oh, we already have it. Never mind. And Clem is doing a great job at containing Gerald while Clem takes a 5th. Getting ahead economically. +2 ship weapons has kicked in. We have 40 Vikings. Oh my, we have more than we can one-shot. We can more than one-shot. There's nothing stopping us. Oh my god. Yeah, Void Rays going down one after the other. The Phoenixes as well. Oh god. Mind Shot gonna be going off on the carriers. We are down to 30 Vikings. That was quite a costly trade. Void Rays, they put in a lot of work. Did we kill? Yeah, they one of the carriers was one shot, by the way. That did happen. Both armies are maxing out. Storm finally on the way. Good EMP, good snipe as well. Oof. Gerald being a little bit too careless. Gonna be bleeding out a lot here. Why are we making... we still have more Phoenixes on the way. Phoenixes and Void Rays. I do appreciate that we're morphing in a couple of zealots, but we don't have that many gateways. Yeah, we don't have that many gateways available. EMPs connect once again. Oh, these Void Rays are just being kited to death whenever they engage. Very meticulous control here from Clem. EMP is looking good. No storms available. The High Templar go down. And every single Void Ray is falling. There's one left. But making a carriers are not the answer, Papi. Gonna try and get into carrier production. Gerald is trying to sneak out of 5th base. But Clem is just bullying this Skytoss army with Mass Viking. And I'll be honest, I think he can commit. I think the only thing that could stop him is a storm, but there's not enough NG for it. Not enough NG for a storm. And I think we realize that we're going straight for those carriers. One goes down, one shot, Papi. We can commit. We can keep going. Clem, he's I understand, like, carriers, they're intimidating. They're intimidating units, I understand. Storm as well. But yeah, now we can go in. Carrier after carrier going down, one after the other. The ground army is falling. But we can always land the Vikings, it's fine. As one carrier survives, Vikings gonna get the hell out of here. And behind this, we're just gonna be remaxing on more bio. This would be a good opportunity to go into ground toss, but we're still making more carrier scans. They reveal the lack of bases. We are down to 27 Vikings with +3. I'm gonna be mass repairing. And yeah, technically, Clem, you can just back off, repair, and go back in and just trade efficiently once again. Now this time there is going to be more of a ground army here with these zealots. We saw that they were able to break through and get on top of the ghost earlier. That is something that Clem has to be careful of, has to be worried about. As yeah, Gerald is switching into ground toss. We have 3 robos on the way. Blink, +2. He is attempting to switch out of sky toss. He knows that, again, like, these carriers are not, they're paperweights at this point. They're not going to add much to the fight. But his ground army is still lacking. He has a bay on the way to get into Colossi or Disruptors. Most likely Disruptors, because there are so many Vikings. But we need time. We need time to get into this robot production, and Clem is already remaxed. He's on 6 bases. Oh, the EMP, the EMP, Papi. Solid EMP on that High Templar. The Ghost as well. I do think we have enough Zealots to overwhelm the ground army, but again, everything could change if the Vikings land. And we still don't want to throw away those carriers, as once again the carriers getting bullied. The Ghosts are going down! The Zealots, they go ham. Pretty efficient trade for Gerald, but he doesn't really have a bank to work with. Doesn't have too much left. Disruptors are finally hitting the field. Let's go up. They shave off a couple units here and there, as Vikings did land. Better connection. We have a nuke on the way. The final carrier falls, and now we can just land everything. And Vikings, they do surprisingly well against gateway units. Against Stalkers specifically. And Workers. Nuke goes off, doesn't quite connect with anything, but does zone the army away. The base goes down. And Gerald just doesn't have much left. Decent Novas. He does have a lot of Disruptors, I must say. But the Vikings, they're waddling in, Papi. They're waddling in. Mass Viking. It's beautiful. And what I will say is we have another nuke going to be connecting. Novas, they are going to go up. Juicy connections here on the army. Oh no, the nuke! Which I don't think will take down the robos, but does graze a couple of those probes. Yeah, as Clem is bleeding out a little bit too much. His army is mainly medevacs at this point. We need to calm down on the starport production. We have the Vikings. They land into the natural. Shut down the Nexus. Oh, as we gotta get the hell out of here. Up. They will escape. Oh, never mind. Clem, he starts to fly away, then he's like, hold up, I could just fight the stalkers. True. True, but... yeah, as Gerald is still just trying to find his footing, and the problem here is that the robos are exposed, right? They're all here on the front lines, so if Gerald gives up on this location, he loses his production. He will lose everything. As we have 7 disruptors. The first robo falls, the second one as well. It's just an uphill battle for Gerald. At the same time, we get the Vikings dropping back in. Nuke on the army. It shouldn't connect. It should. There we go. As we shut down the Ghost. We get some good splits coming in as well, but Gerald, he's just trying to survive here, trying to deal with this army. The Novas, they're on cooldown. No! As throughout all of this, the Vikings have still been cleaning up that natural. Going ham, 14 probes go down. The Vikings, they stop for no one, and Clem is just taking every base he can. Well played gets called, and Clem will take the next game here, putting his team on match point. GG. GG, well played. Whew. Clem will take the 2-0, and that was an interesting one. That was an interesting one, and really why why we love Radisson Station. It allows for some crazy games. Gerald's rushing into Skytoss, and it almost worked, but it did feel a little bit too greedy. It did feel like we were committing a little bit too hard to that, and we were being punished as a result. Eventually, we stabilized and we got up to 4 bases, but once Clem was working on Mass Viking, it did feel like the ground, not even the ground toss transition, but the Archons and the High Templar were delayed as a result. We didn't really have much of a Stalker army either. Like, yeah, it felt like Geralt wasn't fully aware of how he wanted really to form his army and what he wanted out of it either. Ended up with like mass Void Ray carrier, and yeah, Clem had his way with it. It was disgusting. It was impressive as well, very impressive. GG. GG, well played. Impressive what Clem could do there. Give the man some Vikings, and he goes ham. But with that, we now have our next best of 2. Clem did 2-0 Geralt, and Team Liquid need one more win here to close it out for them. But can they get it? Because up next is going to be a PvP between SKillous and MaxPax. Out comes the ace player for PSISTORM Gaming. And yeah, I think a lot of people, they sleep on PSISTORM a little bit just because they only recently picked up Spirit, and they haven't had as strong of a roster for a long time. I think before this they had the Koreans, of course, with True and Gumiho, but it's been a while since that's been the case, really. Special, of course, leaving PSISTORM a couple of months ago. But with the acquisition of Spirit to support MaxPax, like PSISTORM, alongside Geralt, of course, who's been popping off, PSISTORM has been looking damn good here in WTL, and we'll see if MaxPax can force the ace match. Essentially, if SKillous wins one game, SKillous, he needs one game here, then Team Liquid will win the series. If MaxPax takes the 2-0, then we get an ace match. Here we go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our blue Protoss player. Blue Protoss player currently representing Team Liquid as they are leading the series 3-1. It is SKillous. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Danish Protoss player, the ace player for PSISTORM Gaming. They're down quite a bit here in this Team League match. They have to fight back here and now to force the ace match. It is MaxPax, the best Protoss in Europe. Let's go. I'd maybe say hacker, not gonna lie. Runner, calm down in the chat, Bobby, calm down. Very common to go for something like a Hellion drop on Radiz's station just so you can abuse and punish their players as well. You're the opposing player even. And we have seen SkyToss work as well. I don't know how much StarCraft you've been watching. We have seen SkyToss work as well, even in the mid game. But again, we were talking about that last game as well. It did feel like Gerald wasn't fully convinced with how he wanted to support his SkyToss and where he wanted to take it as well. It felt very off the cuff. Like I would love to, even as we're going for a proxy. We're going for a one-base all-in. Oh no, actually, this could just be a proxy Stargate. But I would love to interview and even ask Gerald's, like, kind of probe him a little bit as to how often he even plays on Radiz's station and how practiced he is on it. Just because, again, you see it very rarely in competitive play. It is not a frequently played map. As MaxPax is going for a gate expand, as he usually does, and it is going to be not a proxy Stargate, but a proxy Robo, so SKillous is going for a one-base all-in, MaxPax is going for an economic opener. We'll see if MaxPax can hold. For now, he's looking. He does make a Zealot first, and he's going to be checking this location, and will he come across the pylon? Oh! And it looks like he will. He does come across the proxy. He's aware of the Robo. Back at home, he should be going for a Void Ray. And he may even deny this as well. Yeah, we have to send out the Stalkers. SKillous on his way to save this, but this is not a good start for SKillous whatsoever. As MaxPax has plenty of time to prepare. Yeah, this pylon is going to go down. Probe is being sent out. SKillous, he's committed. He has to repower this. As the Robo is depowered, and we are going to be throwing down another pylon, but this is so heavily delayed. Meanwhile, because it's delayed, MaxPax, he can delay his Void Ray and he can go Oracle first. With this Oracle, he can get across the map, and he's going to be looking to cripple the economy of SKillous while he's all in. So SKillous is aware, so he throws down a Shield Battery. Shield Battery is on the way, and that will preserve his workers. It will require a Stasis Trap or a second Oracle to really break through this, and now there's that Void Ray on the way. Okay, and it's MaxPax on the defense. Does wall off just barely in time. He has to not make it in. Oh my god, as we trap the Stalker! SKillous going to be losing one of his Stalkers. The Oracle gets across the map again. There is a Shield Battery, so the GPS of this Oracle isn't quite going to be enough. He goes for it anyway. And it looks like he will get one probe for his troubles. Took a while to get there as two Adepts do make their way into the main base, and SKillous can now opt for some counter damage. Can one-shot probes himself. Oh, a bit of a misclick there from SKillous. Does miss a probe. Gonna get 3, gonna get 4 workers here in the main. 5 workers even. Not too bad, as the Prism is gonna barely save that Adept. Interesting, we went Prism first instead of Immortal. Yeah, back at her, we're up to 3 gateways. Blink is on the way. SKillous still committed to his one-base all-in. Meanwhile, no, the Prism is gonna go down. It was chased down by the Void Rays. It was blindsided by the Stalkers, and now MaxPax can once again push forward towards that proxy location, towards the Robo. You typically don't see the defending player be this adventurous, and MaxPax can be punished, but Blink is not done. The Void Ray looking a little bit exposed. Oh, never mind. We can just turn around and fight. We have a second Void Ray coming in as well, and we will depower this Robo. A very proactive defense. It just goes to show how far ahead MaxPax is. Like, his opponent is all-inning him, and MaxPax, he's just fighting out of the open. Just, he can. Nothing's stopping him, Papi. As we turn around and fight, we activate the prismatic alignments. And this trade is just not going Skillous' way. GG gets called, he runs out of steam, and MaxPax will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, MaxPax, he is very well versed here in defending against one base all-ins. It's kind of his speciality. For those wondering, for those who may not be aware, MaxPax, he often goes gate expand on any map, even maps like Side Delta, where it's expected to do so actually, but even on maps where it isn't safe to do so. And he's just so well practiced against defending against one base all-ins. So I was a little bit surprised to see Skillous commit, to see Skillous try to commit to all-in MaxPax, because it's just so difficult to pull off, and yeah, it did kind of snowball out of control very early on. GG, well played. MaxPax fights back for his team. And now MaxPax needs one more win here to force the ace match. Likewise, Skillous, he needs one win to end the series, to end it all. Here we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Liquid. Still leading the series, still needs only one to win it all. It is SKillous. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Danish Protoss player representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is MaxPax. And on Side Delta, you do have a ramp coming into the natural, so it is very safe to go for a gate expand. But even on maps where it isn't safe, MaxPax should be going for an economic opener, a gate expand on the low ground. And the question becomes, is Skillous going to once again attempt to all-in MaxPax? Or does he play for behind? Skillous does have a 2-gate opener here back at home, or a 2-gate setup. And MaxPax will confirm that, coming in with a probe scout, trying to get a read on where exactly the second pylon is going to be thrown down. As Skillous comes in for a scout, and again, everyone knows MaxPax, everyone knows his reputation, shouldn't be surprised to see the gateway on the low ground. There is that 2-gate opener out of Skillous. He does not have a probe out on the map, so he is not set up to proxy. So it looks like this time we're seeing a much more standard opener. As Skillous' goal here is to at least delay the expansion for as long as he can. Now, if Hero was playing against MaxPax, Hero would take his natural as the gold. That would be a great way to counteract the greed here of MaxPax. But I wonder how Skillous will approach it, as he throws down the second pylon. And that is going to be spotted by MaxPax as well. So now a red Protoss player, he knows that there is no proxy, he knows that he should be safe. To take a second gas. Once the Cyber Core finishes, he can throw down a Stargate. Zealot is on the way. There's that Stargate. As again, it was double gas before expansion. So everything is looking as it should be. This is the exact same opener that MaxPax went for in game number 1, as he will eventually go for his expansion. Meanwhile, across the map, Skillous, it looks like he's going to be going for his own expansion as well. Skillous is going to be a little bit later than his opponents. As, unfortunate here, as Skillous, he is expanding, but he's going for the goal base on MaxPax's side of the map, and it is immediately scouted. Ay. Now, I know that I said that if Hero was here, Hero would take the gold, but he would take his own gold. I'm not too sure if Hero would take this one, as this is going to be a difficult location to defend. Stalkers are on the way. And we'll see if Skillous can pull this off. Again, I do like this overall. I do like taking the gold against MaxPax. I think it's a really good way to counteract him and to even bring him down. Like, we have seen Hero take down MaxPax many a time on maps like Royal Blood with the gold base. But on Equilibrium, we'll see. As Zealot is going to be going down. Void Ray coming up behind this. MaxPax, of course, sending out his first Oracle across the map, but there is a shield battery to defend. There is a shield battery in position, so this Oracle shouldn't achieve too much as it finishes up just in time. Yeah, the Oracle going for a stasis trap instead. SKillous does spot it, does react, does pull away. Meanwhile, back at home, Void Ray does arrive. And we do recall over towards the gold. We have a shield battery, another gateway on the way. But the Void Rays are going to just bully these Stalkers back. One Stalker already falling. And just wait for the second Void Ray to pop as well. Again, Void Rays in PvP, they don't really scale well into the mid game, but in the early game, like, they're amazing. They do so well against Stalkers, especially a low amount of Stalkers. So there we go, third Void Rays in production. Oracle coming in from behind, going for another stasis trap, and we do react. Oh, but this time catching four probes. And of course confirming that there was a recall towards the gold. Speaking of two adepts, they shade into the mineral line. They can one-shot workers even if there's a shield battery, and SKillous does not have an economy. For a moment there, he didn't have any mining whatsoever. Does get back on that mineral patch though. SKillous is just building up his Stalkers. How many Stalkers do we have? We're up to 15. 15 Stalkers at this point from SKillous. Not too bad. Not a bad Stalker count whatsoever. Meanwhile, MaxPax is working on a robo. This is going to be for Immortal production. We're working on those Immortals. Just a very tech-heavy composition. Obviously, MaxPax, he knows that he can't keep up with the overall Stalker count, which is why we're going Void Rays and then Immortals afterwards. Stalkers laying siege upon this natural. The first gateway is going to go down. And SKillous, he does have a decent army so far. Does activate the prismatic alignment. SKillous does back off. Does respect it. And these Voiders, they can just cut through these Stalkers so easily if we go for a head-to-head fight. So a very delicate balance that SKillous has to walk. He does take down one of those Stalkers. Trades a Stalker for a Stalker even. As the Adepts are coming back in. They're at least threatening a shade. MaxPax being so active here, coming with another stasis trap. Does catch another four probes and a Stalker. And as the Adepts shade in, this is just giving MaxPax time. Gets another probe, forces all these Stalkers back to the gold base, and this allows more Immortals to come out. A Dark Shrine on the way! I love it, there is no detection. Uh-oh. There is zero detection available here for SKillous. Dark Shrine could even win the game if MaxPax can defend. If he can hold, then DTs, they can wreak havoc across the map. Yeah, there's a probe as well for a proxy pylon. Couple of probes actually. MaxPax, he's got options. He can take a ninja base. He can even, I was gonna say that he can even take the gold of SKillous. The Dark Shrine is now halfway done. SKillous, there is no robo, there's no Stargate, there's no Forge. He is not ready for Dark Templar. Oh boy. There's that ninja base. Again, I do feel like he could have taken the gold instead. That would have been a great way to just go full circle. It'll just be a little bit more mature instead. A little bit safer. There we go. There's that prism. Aye. Dark Shrine is about to finish up, and again, there is zero detection. We now have a robo on the way. Okay, two DTs for the main base. No DTs here, though, at the gold. I would love to see one. Yeah, there we go. It's on the way. We are just diving on in. A zero detection. If we can get on top of this Robo, that will be game. Yeah, the probes are just being pulled away. There's a full wall! No! There's no way to escape! They have to recall to safety instead. They recall to the goal base. Robo's still in production. DT, they get the sentry, and GG gets called. The Invisible Man does it again. GG, well played. No detection, no way to deal with it, and MaxPax will take the 2-0. GG, forcing the ace match. Let's go. We're going all the way to game 7. Oh my god, that's unfortunate. If it wasn't for that, I mean, there's still no guarantee that SKillous would have won that game, but obviously the game would have gone on from there, and he had a decent Stalker army. GG, well played. And sometimes that's just all it takes, and it happens quite often at the pro level in PvP, where DT show up and they just end the game. I say quite often, like, you know, not every series, but you know, at least once a tournament sort of thing. GG, and with that, we have our ace match, and I assume it's going to be MaxPax versus Clem. That would make the most sense. They are the ace players for their respective teams. Now, what's interesting is that the map is going to be Radisson Station. Remember, the map is predetermined. The maps are predetermined here with how they do start, how they do begin. As we have our current lineups here and how we got here in this series. It all ends on Radisson Station, and that's going to be a really big factor as well. Now, we saw what Gerald could do on Radisson Station, how he was able to cut corners and get into Sky Toss, and it was, you know, a little bit lacking is what I will say, but imagine MaxPax on this map, mate. I don't know, Papi. I don't know if Clem wants to experience that again. Otherwise, we could rely on a PvP, but do we really want to send out SKillous or Mana against MaxPax? I don't know if a laser was available this day. Maybe a laser was, yeah, elsewhere. I did see someone else asking about that. How a laser wasn't fielded tonight. I mean, Mana did well. Mana took a game off of Spirit, and a laser struggled to take games off of Spirit before, so yeah, Mana did pull his weight. But it comes down to our final 7th game. When I scout the goal base by me and he places second base. You're playing against you're playing against SKillous, Papi. Confirmed. But it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone as I quickly do set up the final game. It is going to be Clem versus MaxPax on Radisson Station. Let's go. Also, sorry, I should fix this up as well. Equilibrium. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, it all ends here. It all ends in this TVP, and honestly, it could go either way. Often does go either way between these two, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have the Danish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Here we go, and a big shout out to Practice X. Oh my god, Papi. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session or team games. I do know that you play some team games from time to time. Hope you had a great ladder set or a great stream nonetheless. Thank you so much, and everyone, welcome to our broadcast of WTL of World Team League. We're here in the ace match, the final game of this Team League match. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to Radisson Station, and it is MaxPax versus Clem. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Bienvenidos, man. Bienvenidos. Now, the question that I have on my mind, how greedy are we going to get? You know, how fast are we going to be taking our naturals, our third bases? How heavy are we going to be teching? We saw the last time that we were on this map in this very series, Gerald did go double Stargate Phoenix into Sky Toss. It is something that you can do, doesn't mean that it's something that you should do. We shall see. I'm sure MaxPax was getting some ideas. For now, Gate Cyber Expand, Standard Opener out of MaxPax. Back at home, Clem going for his own economic opener. Just a single gas here from our Terran player. Going for that CC on location. And we have seen a lot of Terran players start to mine out these patches really early on and get into a third CC a lot faster than normal in a TVP. We have even seen some players, whether they're Terran or Protoss even, have some really interesting fourth base locations where they take the pocket base, yes, they mine through these mineral patches, they work through these rocks, and they take the gold as their fourth, which is really interesting. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can take this as like a forward base and like a launch pad essentially for you to push forward across the map. I think the last player we saw do that was SKillous. We take the gold. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of direction we do head in. Hello, Sydney, hello. Bienvenidos. And there it is. We were talking about how greedy you can be, and this is going to be a third CC before factory, before second racks. This is as greedy as you can be in TVP. This is wild. I was also shocked we didn't see this against Gerald, but maybe Clem was a little bit more concerned. But yeah, you could never get away with a third CC this early on any other map other than Radisson Station. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, the Zealot and the Adept have arrived. They're going to try and delay the CC, but the Marines are in position. Zealot goes down and the Adept does get zoned away. So far, good positioning out of Clem. Does wall off. And MaxPax has no idea what kind of opener he's up against. As back at home, MaxPax goes for a Twilight Council opener. Is going to be going 2-gate. This should be 2-gate into a third base. If it is, we'll see if he takes the pocket third or the triangular third location instead. Oh, never mind. As he throws down an extra couple of gateways. So it's going to be 3 gates blink into a third. So a little bit more aggressive here out of MaxPax. This isn't all in by any means. This is just designed to gain map control and to punish a greedy player. So I do like this overall. Again, Clem, he's cutting a lot of corners. He's investing into this third CC very early on, and MaxPax could try to punish this. There is potential. Bunker is on the way. Behind this, we have a 3CC setup. Sorry, I mean, we do have a 3CC setup, but I'll just say 3 racks. 3 rack setup here out of Clem. Stim is on the way. Additional Marines. This is ideal against a Stargate opener. If he happened to be going up against double Stargate, then this would be ideal, like what we saw out of Gerald. But Clem is going blink. Sorry, MaxPax is going blink, and Clem hasn't scouted. I mean, you can't really scout. I mentioned before that there's no Reaper Cliff coming into the main base or into the natural, so scouting is just a very difficult thing for Terran players to do on this map. So he's not aware of the tech, and we do manage to slip into the pocket base. We can warp in 3 Stalkers at a time. We slip into the mineral line, and SCVs are going down. We get 3, we get 4. And even a couple of Marines. Stim isn't done yet, so MaxPax has no real worry about losing anything. With good enough control, he does save every single Stalker. And so far, really good trades, really good damage done here by MaxPax, as he can still just have his way with this mineral line, getting another SCV. Again, expanding, taking a third base behind this. So yeah, I do really like this opener here from MaxPax, and he hasn't quite seen the main base yet. He's not fully aware of what's going on, but upon seeing all these Marines, MaxPax can at least piece together that it is 3 racks. You can at least piece that together, being aware that there's no factory base units, there's no medevacs, no drop play, no nothing. As MaxPax is working towards charge, almost said storm, maybe on the horizon, but charge, the forge, +1. League Stalkers have arrived and they take down the bunker. The repairs were not there. Even forcing out a stim at the same time, the Stalkers, they come back in from behind, and MaxPax, he is pulling Clem apart, getting so much done. The stim is completed though, so he has to be very careful. He has to respect these Marines, respect these Marauders. So backs off, getting another 4 SCVs. Looking at the units lost tab here, you can see 10 SCVs in total and 12 Marines for only Adepts and 1 Zealot. MaxPax hasn't lost a single Stalker. Not yet, at least. Up! I spoke too soon. As 1 Stalker finally goes down. As the drop moves out. Actually, MaxPax, he's going to be losing that Prism. Really big catch there from Clem. At the same time, MaxPax's attention was on his main army. He breaks into the natural base, trying to force his way in towards the into the mineral line. But we have reinforcements. Oh, and MaxPax, he did overextend. Losing that drop was huge. And he's going to lose even more than that. Another Stalker goes down. Again, everything was looking so good for MaxPax, and very quickly things started to fall in favor of Clem. Meanwhile, we do have a scan into the pocket base, confirming the recall, the saturation. MaxPax, he's not working towards Storm, working towards instead Colossi and Disruptors. We have a Bay on the way. MaxPax getting set up here on 3 bases, 4th base thrown down. And the game is settling from here. And MaxPax did go for a Dark Shrine, which is a bold move. See what he can get done, as there's a Viking in position, and oh, this Prism is going to be taking a lot of hits. We go straight for the mineral line. DTs have been revealed, and the boys have to be pulled. We do have a scan. We still get 4 SCVs, not too bad. 4 workers. And denying a lot of mining here at the pocket base. And forcing some pretty heavy oversaturation at the natural. At the same time, we have a drop coming in towards the natural of MaxPax. But there are Stalkers in position, and MaxPax, he does hold. Did a pretty significant amount of economic damage. But MaxPax, he's still trying to build up his army. Still working on his first Colossus. Meanwhile, Clem has been preserving his units, and he's got a lot of Marines, a lot of Marauders pushing out. His army's actually looking pretty terrifying. Without Colossus, we can't really fight this. MaxPax's going to try and pick up a couple of units here and there. Doesn't get a Marauder. He's going to bleed out some Stalkers. He's on the chase. At the same time, DTs, they come back in. There's detection, but do we have an army? SCVs are going down. There we go for a massive Zealot Warp into the main base, but they take some mines to the face. Yeah, the War Prism is going to be hunted down, and Clem can focus on his main push. You have 1 Colossus, no extended thermal lance. We're going to try to engage, but there's just so many Marines, so many Marauders. We can just stim on forward. The Colossus goes down. The overcharge is not enough. The overcharge is just not enough. As Clem does lose 13 SCVs back at home. His economy not looking so hot right now. But he doesn't care. He pushes on in. There is no detection. The mines are going to reset. There's nothing to hit there. They do reset. Clem is being forced back. Just don't walk back through the minefield. Oh my god. It's not safe, Papi. It's not safe. As the mine shots are going to be going off, and Clem is able to reinforce. Oh my god. So many Widow mines, else they cannot push in. Clem is just trying to lure that Colossus out. His army is heavily overstimmed though. Yeah, Clem is going to have to back off. And earlier he did have a pretty impressive lead, a pretty hefty supply lead. But these Zealot did an amazing job at crippling the economy, at keeping MaxPax back in this. And he holds. MaxPax does hold. It was a pretty tense moment. A very tense moment there where Clem was almost able to break through. Especially when that first Colossus went down. MaxPax, he does hold on. Additional Colossi are on the way. We still do not have Extend Thermal Lance, by the way. We still do not have the range upgrade, which is pretty important. It's very impactful. Instead, we're going for a DT Blink. +3. Second Robo's on the way for double Colossus or even double Disruptor production. But Clem is not slowing down. Ghost Academy was thrown down. 4th CC on the way for Clem. And these 4 bases are pretty easy to defend, pretty easy to get up towards. We can see Clem doing the same. But the 5th is where things get really rowdy. Whether it's the gold or the 5th on the left-hand side or even here on the right, it's going to be very difficult here for MaxPax to expand. To take that next step. And I do think he has forgotten Extend Thermal Lance. It's not intentional, unfortunately. Base is being taken. Back at home, we have a second starport on the way for additional Viking production. Ghosts are arriving. They're not with the main army yet, but they're on the way. And again, MaxPax, he wants that 5th. He wants a 5th base, but alas, Clem is here to stop him. He's going for the Colossus, gets one of them. And a big reason for this is because the Colossi, they have to be that much closer to attack. Without the range upgrade, they're so vulnerable. And that's going to be a cancel on the 5th base. And the Colossi should not be taking this many hits. As the Stalkers are going down, the buffer zone was cleaned up. Clem is being forced back for now. But he got what he wanted. He canceled the 5th. That's all he wanted out of that. Oof. The prism goes down. That was what, the 4th prism of the game? Or prism does fall. We're still making 2 Colossi at a time. Still no Extend Thermal Lance. Not like this. Like, especially with the range of the Marauders, like, it's... Yeah, these Colossi, they're just taking so many extra attacks here. And Clem, he's pushing out once again. This time with Vikings. Liberators coming out to reinforce. Now, there are going to be shield batteries finishing up. That will help. That will help, but the Colossi taking a lot of hits already. Before the fight even begins, and now we can just collapse on in. Yeah, 2 Colossus go down, the overcharge is popped, and it's putting in a lot of work. But it's not going to be enough. Not like this, as we just chew through the Stalker army. The Zealots come in to reinforce. MaxPax, he's holding. And we are getting into Disruptors. Thankfully, there's no upgrade we have to worry about there. But we do have to worry about the Robo. So the Robo will fall. Now, the Disruptors, they can be the saving grace. As Clem is now mining from his 5th. Clem? MaxPax. Clem as well. they both are. Yo, the Ghost taking a lot of swipes. Oh. Never connecting on one of those Ghosts. I'm not quite able to keep on pushing. MaxPax, can he stabilize? He's getting there. More Disruptors on the way. Meanwhile, Clem just avoids the main army, rotates around. He could even try to drop into the natural, and yeah, he's going straight for that pocket base instead. MaxPax just completely out of position, does not see the rotation at all. And this base is going to fall. And no recall available. By the time the army gets here, the Nexus is already dead. And we can just pick up and leave. Big EMPs here on these Colossi. Even the Liberators, oh my god. Getting so much damage done. And from here, Clem can just rotate back around. Head towards the 5th. At least the 5th is mining, but we did end up losing a Nexus. And this now we have that much less vision here in this area, and we can even go for another drop later on. Unscouted. Again, MaxPax's vision has been lacking. He's sending out a couple of zealots. At the moment, he's just pumping out nothing but disruptors, and I don't blame him. He's just trying to survive. Hasn't had the room to really get into additional observers. Yeah, he's only got one. He's gonna get a ghost. Fusion core is on the way for lib range. That's a third starport as well. Was there void rays in any of these games? Yes, yes there were. In the PvPs there were void rays. And even in the PvT as well. So again, we do see both players vying for map control. At this point, I've given up hope that we're going to get extend thermal lances. It's not happening. No, not this game, Bobby. Not this game. Good EMP. The run by is going to get shut down. MaxPax having a good fight here, though. Does catch a good portion of that army. But he's just one step behind. Like, at this stage, once we're getting into Liberators, a Skytoss transition is ideal. But MaxPax just doesn't have the bang for it. He's been struggling to expand. And even here, the Liberators gonna be harassing. Shutting down so many probes. But yeah, ideally here, MaxPax would have been up a base, would have been taking additional gases, and upon seeing all of these Liberators, we can then work towards the next step, the next stage. But MaxPax, he's stuck on a ground toss army. Decent Novas. Oh my god. Good Novas here on the Marauders. But the Freedom Zones. The Freedom Barbie, it's here, and so many disruptors go down. Every single Colossus as well. And Max actually just has to commit, has to push in. And he does break through. Cleans up all the Liberators. But this did cost him how many? 2 Colossi and 4 Disruptors. He has a Gateway army, that is true, but Clem has reinforcements on the way, additional Liberators as well. He is bleeding out a lot in the retreat. And MaxPax, he could try to go for one of these bases. At the same time, a warp in into the pocket. MaxPax, he does have momentum. He's pushing in. He's pushing into the natural base. Nova goes off, zoning away the army. Liberator goes down as well. And we do take control of the natural. Clem in a lot of trouble. These Vikings, they're not helping. Yeah, they're going to be forced to land. DT's wreaking havoc in the pocket base. And MaxPax, he is breaking through. Up. It's so close, but he barely isn't. The Zealots get cleaned up. The Liberator stands strong. He did get a lot of economic damage. He even killed the Orbital. Oh my god. The Orbital did go down, but it cost MaxPax everything. This is his army. MaxPax, only 1 Stalker recalled out. He's got two Disruptors, a handful of Zealots. It was impressive what he was able to accomplish, but he wasn't able to get into the main. The goal there was to camp the production. And we have a lot of catching up to do. Clem is pushing out. They're going to be able to chase down some of these Stalkers. Nova goes off. Doesn't quite connect with much. This skull base is ambitious, and we're not going to get this up and running. Yeah, Clem comes in. Clem brings it down. Getting some good connections nonetheless. But alas, Clem's economy here is just, yeah, getting so much done for him. We are going to be losing some SCVs. Zealot Runby comes in from behind. Prism as well as it is going to get shut down. The Zealots are being cleaned up. Clem gets knocked down to 41 SCVs, but we have mules. We have mules, papi. We have fresh bases. MaxPax barely mining. And again, the problem is that in these fights, he's just been losing these robo-based units that are just so expensive. He has one disruptor left, and now he has none. MaxPax does get himself these liberators, does take down 2 of them. But we're running out of stalkers. Oh. So you barely avoid that shot. But Clem he wants, and he gets the final stalker as well. Good control out of Clem. Very nicely done. And GG is going to get called. MaxPax, he runs out of steam. And Clem will take the final game here. And Team Liquid will come out on top. 4-3. GG. GG, well played. It went all the way to the ace match. It went all the way to Game 7 on Radisson Station of all maps. And Team Liquid barely come out on top. GG, and honestly, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed, not just by Team Liquid. I'm impressed a lot by PSISTORM. I mentioned before, PSISTORM Gaming, they were struggling a lot last season. They were having a really rough time in WTL Summer, and that all changed. That all changed once they did refine their roster a little bit, and yeah, with Spirit, with MaxPax, with Gerald, they've been finding a lot more success. They've been doing a lot better here in WTL Winter. And forcing Team Liquid to the ace match, no easy feat. No easy feat. GG, well played. Again, a shout out to Mana, Clem, and SKillous for, of course, winning it all in the end. And, yeah, shout out to the other players as well from PSISTORM for fighting back as hard as they did. I think honestly my standout performance here was Mana. If you missed out on it, I highly recommend checking out Mana versus Spirit. Game 1 especially was wild for Mana to open up Storm into a Storm drop and catch Spirit off guard. It was a lot of fun. It was an amazing series and amazing games were had. Not to, you know, again, there was also some other amazing games out of Clem and Gerald and the others, but Mana versus Spirit was my personal favorite, and I recommend it. Gerald vs. Clem was also a lot of fun in a very different way, just because of like the greed and like the amount that Gerald was trying to get away with in his own series against Clem, with double Stargate, with like the rush into Sky Toss. It was fun. Not something you see too often. And a great way to spice up the series. Regardless, GG, well played, and congratulations to Team Liquid. Congrats. I think MaxPax would have won if he had extended the lance. I don't know if win, but I do think that to wind it back a little bit, to talk about especially when MaxPax was trying to take his 5th base, I think that's when it was most noticeable. If you remember, right? When he was trying to break free from his 4 base contain and trying to expand and take the 5th, he was relying so heavily there on his Colossi. He had like 3 or 4. And he was bleeding out so many Colossi in that moment and taking such heavy losses as well. And that's when Extend Thumb Lance would have helped so much. He would have expanded and gotten his 5th base a lot easier. I do think that, and we would have seen a different game. I don't know if he would have won, but we would have seen a very different dynamic, and I do think MaxPax would have had an easier mid game as a result, getting in towards those disruptors. So yeah, that was a pretty big upgrade that was missed, and really unfortunate as well, because I would have loved to have seen a much more secure MaxPax there, and a much more dynamic back and forth like late game as well. But yeah, that was a pretty crucial upgrade to miss. GG. But with that, we are going to be going on a short break. Here, as that wraps up our first Team League match of the night, but we have many more ahead of us. We have 2 more matches ahead of us, and this time we're going to be casting off of a clean feed, not off of replays, so it's going to look a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner, but we do need a couple of minutes here to set up for it. So take this moment to hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, and cuddle your carriers, because in a couple of minutes we'll be back with our next match. See you soon.